All right. Let's keep the vibes going. Let's keep the vibes going. What we doing? What we doing? 9 years ago. All right. So next person on call. Oh, I gotta make this call right here because this cat right here. I knew dude from college. So he reached out to me, and I'm like, yo, I gotta hit you up, man, because this dude used to actually spit like bars on campus back in the day. But I think he left, went to the military, something like that. But he didn't reach out, and so let me call him. He had a question. His question is about management, right? As a new manager for an artist, how do you separate your personal bias when you are critiquing an artist's music? That's just one of the questions. He has two questions. Let's give him a call, talk about his questions. Here we go, reaching out to Noiz. Let's do it.
Yo.
Yo, Zay.
What's good, sir?
What's going on, bro?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Surviving in this pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
God damn, bro. I ain't heard your voice in a good minute, man.
Hey, man. You know how I be. Low key.
Hey, I feel it, man. Good to know you still on the music vibe. You still doing all that. I like the questions that you're sending. You live on not live, but you on the podcast right now. So, we're going to jump straight into it. And you and I can catch up.
Sure.
We can definitely catch up sometime after this. But you back home. You went to the military, right?
Yeah. I did 10 years in the military, serving in Afghanistan. Did my little tenure over there, stationed at Fort Bragg and Schofield for the majority of it. And I just retired January of this year.
Let me hold $1.
I let you hold $2.
Shoot. Well, welcome back. Thank you for serving the country, protecting all of us, and keeping all of us safe. From enemies or potential enemies. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. Let's jump into your questions, man. You had two questions. The first question says, as a new manager for an artist, how do you separate your personal bias when you are critiquing your artist's music, or do you? And then number two, what are great ways for a new manager to network to gain opportunities and resources for their artists? So I want to answer both these questions. These are dope questions that I think everyone needs to hear the answers to. But I want to ask you, am I answering this? What are you doing? Am I answering this to an artist, or am I answering this to a manager?
You're answering this for a manager. I've just been put in a position where I'm managing an artist, and it was kind of like came about because I was really just offering my musical expertise to artists that I know. Right. And one artist particularly reached out to me, and he just told me, I want to manage you. I mean, he wants me to manage him. And I was like, yo, that's not really my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't manage. I just, give out gems when I can. But he just really believes in me. I told him to give me a week and let me figure it out. And then he sleep on it. He called me back 3 days later. Yo, I know this is what I want to do, bro. I want you to be my manager. So I couldn't tell him no. So now I'm a manager, bro.
Now you in it.
Yeah, now I'm in it.
Ain't nothing like a driven mother lover to get you in the game, man. Hey.
For sure.
Hey, so Bets, let me answer this question. Welcome to management, man. It's a lot. So let's talk about it. As a new manager for an artist, how do you separate your personal bias? You don't. That's the answer. You don't. You don't separate your personal bias, because your personal bias is going to be a part of what drives you towards success. Now, you don't separate your personal bias. I mean, it's going to drive your passion, right, to stay in it towards success.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't want to bring other biases in. So, like, you may have a bias on what you think is good music. You should probably keep that, because that bias is going to keep you passionate about what you're a part of. The moment you're no longer loving what you do, it's going to affect your ability to execute what you're doing, right?
For sure.
Unless there's enough money picking up its place. So what I would say is, yes, your bias matters, but once you get into the space of marketing and networking and all the other aspects, your bias has to go out the door, and you have to be extremely open-minded, and you have to be extremely open to new knowledge, new people, new concepts. You really can't be closed-minded at all. You're networking with the racist individual at the same space that you're networking with the person that's left, the person that's right, the person that's homophobic, the person that is gay. Whatever, in any space, you're really open to a lot of different energy. Right. Now, only place where that doesn't really exist is if there's a street element to it. If the artist is street in any way, there's rules to the game on that side of the world, and you got to play by those rules. If your artist is in that space and you're in that space, then yeah, there's biases with that. But if you're outside of that, then you're really in an open space. So be biased about who you work with, in reference to who you want to manage, because you're basically going to be their parent, right? So you should choose your kid, you're adopting a kid. You should like the fucking kid, right?
Right. I hear that.
But after that, if the kid wants to be a cop or a ballerina or a doctor, you got to support whatever the fuck the kid wants to do.
For sure.
That's the open part, right?
Regardless of your bias. If you don't like doctors, your kid wants to be a doctor, you do what it takes to make your kid a doctor.
You got to support your kid, and that's the part that's unbiased. So a part of picking your kid is, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? So you can get that out the way, right? And I'm picking biases that I know people are, uncomfortable with, or whatever, or whatever. I don't know. I'm picking things to just really jerk you and get you to think like this is a serious decision that you're making, because you can't abandon the kid later. They're gonna have abandonment issues. It's a whole thing. Like, you're really taking on a person.
No, I hear that.
All right, so that's that. But to give more value to that, when picking an artist, what's more important than your biases is a lot of things. A list. Number one is what's the artist hustle like? What is their grind like? That's super important. What is their character like? That's super, super important as well, because you need to figure out if they're going to be with you long term. Is their character, where it needs to be? What is their music about, and are they relevant in that space? If your artist is a gangster and he's saying, or the music is gangster related, this little dude better be a gangster. Otherwise, for sure. Right? If this dude is a geek, he needs to be cool with all the geeks. If this dude is a lover, he needs to have girls. Like, you don't want an artist that is projecting one thing and they're not that, because what you'll find is that there are people that are really writers, where they don't live what they write about. They fantasize about what they write about, and those individuals should be writers. And if you're managing that person, you should actually be grooming them to be a writer, though they probably want to be an artist. And then there are people that are living that, right? And they may not be the best writers. And you want the person that's living whatever they're talking about. That way, there's an opportunity to build a fan base without you spending a whole lot of money or finding investors to spend a whole lot of money, because they genuinely connect with their audience, right?
Okay.
That's extremely important.
I see that too. Yep.
Extremely important.
I agree.
Right. And then, of course, you want to it would be great if they have some type of money. If they don't have any money, you want to make sure they have some hustle to them, in reference to financial hustle, which is different than the actual creative hustle. And then if not, you want to know they're good at networking. They're a social person, because you can get them in the room. But once they get in the room, you introduce them to whoever, but now they got to sell. Right. I remember I used to take an artist that I was rocking with. I used to take her and introduce her to people, and people used to come back and give me more than what I asked for just because they loved her. Right. That's the energy that you want. But at the same time, if I put her in a room and didn't introduce her to no one, she wouldn't say shit to nobody, which is also a problem. Right. So, tomato, you got to pick your situation. So there's a lot going into the selection process, because once you select, it's very hard to unselect later. Right. If you've truly managed to bond it.
Once you already made that commitment to an artist, it's kind of hard to be like, you know what, this ain't gonna work. I understand that.
It's hard because you get tied in. If you're a really good manager, you know their mama, you know their daddy, you know where they live at, you done picked them up, they done cried on your shoulder, you done went through shit together. Like, it gets real, right? So even if from a business perspective, you're like, I gotta get out of this shit. From a human perspective, it's gonna get hard because you've adopted a family member.
Right.
Right.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So let's say, I'm just going to go back a little bit to the character of the artist, right?
Yeah.
You was talking about the lover needs a girl, geeks need to be cool with the geeks, gangster got to live that gangster lifestyle. And if they're not living what their music sounds like, then it's probably better, because if they're good with the pen, it's probably better for them to be a writer. At what point do you make that decision or bring that up to the artist? Because these artists are very passionate about their artwork.
Yep.
They're very passionate about being a performer. And then more than likely, and the ones that I know, are passionate about being in front of the mic rather than behind it, you know, kind of like being in front of the camera as an actor rather than behind the camera as a director or a writer or something. At what point do you make that decision?
I don't think you can't make the decision. The decision that you make is the decision to have the conversation. And the conversation is less of a, you know, you need to make a choice. It's more of, listen, I think you will actually succeed quicker if you go this direction for these reasons. And
for sure,
if we work it this way, you can always come back and do it this other way. There are a bunch of examples of that you can lean on. However, if you do not want to take that path, here are all the holes preventing you from being what you want to be in the path that you want to go down. And most likely all of these holes have nothing to do with the music or the creativity. And you will have to tell the artist basically, listen, I'm not going down this path with you unless you overcome these things, unless you tackle these things. And if the artist is committed to go, because, you know, it's just improvement. If the artist is willing to improve and grow in those areas, then by all means keep going. But if the artist is not, then there's a challenge. You know, like there's a lot of, you know, if you go back in history, there's a lot of, you know, quote unquote gangster artists that weren't gangster, but it was like, I gotta bring you around, you know, the hood. I gotta bring you around. You gotta learn this shit, you know. So you gotta know.
Right. You gotta know about it. You can't just rap about it and not be there.
Right. You'd have the dudes that bring them around, and next thing you know, they're having their own little experiences, and they starting to feel like, okay, I'm a part of this, right? Is that right or wrong? Are they gangster? Are they not? I don't know. That's debatable. But you know. If that's just what it is, like if
are they able to build that connection with their fan base, though?
Correct. Are they able to be authentic to the fan base? Right. Can they be authentic? I just saw a video today of NLE Chopper. You know, he was like, "Yo, I'm making my tea," and he's mixing his he's warming up his tea the same way you warm up crack. And he's talking all namaste, like, yeah, this opens the raspberries, open up the chakras. And the blueberries open up and I'm just like, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm on my vegan. This is my agave honey, right? Jesus. And I'm and you know, but at the same time, it's like that could be authentically him. That could be something that he's staging. But either way, what he is doing is he's translating a reality that for a person that that's never seen that, that's never seen crack cooked, they would just go, oh, yeah, that's a cool way to warm up tea. Right, exactly. So he's communicating with that audience, and there's a realness to that they can relate to, and people can bust out laughing. This man trying to, I feel you, bro. You trying to come up, you trying to get your life together, but damn, nigga, you know, you get that, you get that energy. It's authentic. But if you have someone claiming that they move bricks and they don't even know how crack is cooked, right? What are we talking about? And they're like, oh, I only moved. What are we talking about? I ain't really moving bricks. I was moving bales. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like I only did herb, whatever it is. Like I ain't no D-boy. So, but yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it is like, I get it. You just gotta move. Like when I got in the game, my mentor, who was a manager, had me around all that type of ish, because he was like, yo, you got to know how to move. This is the spaces we move in. Right. So you gotta be familiar. Gotta be familiar. So like, and that's you know, it's for everything. If your artist is, and I keep using the gay example because my artist that I worked with was gay, right? I was in all the gay clubs. I was in every gay club in the city. I was up in there. You know what I'm saying? Straight as I want to be. It was weird at first. I had my ass against the wall every time I walked in the goddamn club. I was scared to get off the wall. I was scared to buy a drink. I had to learn. I had to learn like, oh wow, every nigga in here don't want to fuck you. You gotta loosen up. All right, that's cool. You gotta loosen up. That's cool. You know, like I had to learn, right? But what was dope was that my artist was cool in all the spots that they were supposed to be cool in. Yeah. That's important. Right. So, and you have to understand, you got to understand how and why, and you have to understand an environment as his manager. Correct. And I learned, and my mentality shifted, and what I thought of the community changed, and how I already had a pretty open mindset, but my mindset expanded. I had a better understanding. I learned, because even as a manager, you may not be a part of the community that you're getting ready to work with your artist. If your artist is a geek and they on some if your artist is an anime type artist, whatever, there's like spots where people get together and play Dungeons and Dragons all night. Right. Your artist should know where them spots are if you don't. And and in those spots, your artist should be the Dungeon Dragon motherfucker.
Right.
Right.
Because what he's given is the image of the Dungeon and Dragon rapper. He's got to give all the aspects of what it's like to be a nerd out there, man.
Right.
He got to relate. He got to tell the story of all those other people there.
Correct.
And they got to be relatable.
Correct. When he starts naming commands from the game and pieces on the board and shit, he talking code.
Right.
Just like niggas be saying birds flying overseas, he's like, you know what I'm saying, wizard on the bridge. And motherfuckers like, oh, the wizard was on the bridge. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever.
For sure.
So that's that. All right. Yeah. Diving into the second part of the question. What are great ways for a new manager to network to gain opportunities and resources for their artists? The best way to do it, from a manager perspective, is you really have to go add value to another manager, because artists cost money. Artists don't bring value to anybody.
Okay.
The only time an artist brings value to a person is when the artist is successful already. Anytime before that, the artist is a pain in the ass all the way around. You love them to death, but just realistically, they're a pain in the ass all the way around. They're needy.
Yeah.
They're expensive. That's really it. They're needy and they're expensive. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, you know, hopefully don't have other issues like lazy and blah, 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 whatever. But, you know, every artist is going to fall in that category. But we want them to be in that category because an artist is channeling the creative shit that we can't channel. Like, they get in the studio and start crying about some shit, yelling about some shit, whatever, going through an emotion, and they're more connected to their emotional side than many of us are, because we've desensitized ourselves for whatever reason in life, and artists are still connected to that thing, and that's what makes them great, and we love them for it, and that's what makes them difficult to people that are not connected to that emotional reality. So they're supposed to be that way. And they're expensive because it costs money to do anything for an artist, and they don't generate any money. And engineers, producers, other songwriters, they generate money quicker than an artist. All right? Yeah. With that said, if you want to find opportunities, how do you find opportunities for debt? Is what you're asking. How do I take a dead weight and get someone excited about it? Right. Obviously, the best way to do it is to break the artist, number one. But you're looking for networking, which means you need assistance, you need knowledge, you need help. And the best way to do that is by adding value to other people. How do you add value to other people? There's another video I did on the podcast. It is released already. Someone else asked that same question, and I gave dude like the best game ever. And I don't want to repeat all of it, so I would say go back and watch that. But in short, you got to be authentically yourself. And you got to figure out what it is that you do that adds value to people. You got to go out there and do it. You know, if you're in short, if you're the weed guy and everyone loves you because you always have the best smoke, then you're that guy. If you're the guy that has the girls, then you're that guy. If you're the guy that just always has a different perspective and philosophical and everyone loves hearing your philosophical thoughts, you're that guy. What is the non-musical thing that people love about you? That's one way to bring value to a situation, just to bring new character, new energy in a space where no one can trust no one and everyone always has, you know, all these ulterior motives and da-da-da-da. Just being a real motherfucker, right? Yep. Brings a lot of value. Yep. That's one way. Number two is just helping people. Like, hey, what you need? Let me see if I can help you. Any favor that you can do for somebody, like this game is about favors. It's about favors and relationships. So, you know, you want to go out there and you want to help someone. If the manager says, I'm looking for this, you want to bust your ass to solve every other manager's problem that you want mentorship, guidance, or help from, so that they feel more inclined to aid you in your requests. Yep. Collect favors.
I see that.
Right? Yep. Outside of that, it's watching channels like mine. There's a lot of books out there. There's a lot of good movies out there. I have a video on my channel where I talk about all the dopest movies to watch if you're a manager. The Idolmaker is number one. If you've never seen it, it's on YouTube right now for free. They're going to rip it down eventually. I will go watch it right when I get off this call. It's called The Idolmaker. It's on YouTube. You should watch that whole shit 10 times in a row and take notes.
You said it's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube right now. That fucking movie will tell you just about everything you need to know to be successful in this game. It's old school. It's set in the 40s, but it's the same shit.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it works never. Usually, if it's don't broke, don't fix. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, man. It shit's never broken. The game has been the same forever. The platforms change, but the reason for the platform doesn't. Right. Okay. Like, okay, we have Spotify now, but we have vinyl. We had CDs. It's all the same shit, but it's different. Right. Okay, you got you know, you got blogs. Well, before, you know, blogs, you had magazines.
Yep.
Right? Blogs actually dead, dying, right? And so what
Mm-hmm.
has taken on, what's taken over blogs? Influencers.
Vlogs.
Influence,
Oh yeah.
vlogs. Yeah, vlogs, influencers, right?
Yeah.
Right, they've taken over that space. It just changes, but it's the same process. So you need these pieces, you work these pieces in these ways, and this is how you bring a project to market. It hasn't changed. The same strategy that he uses in that movie is the same strategy they use to break T-Pain. It's the same strategy they use to break NDRE for his second
Okay.
artist in that movie, right? Same
Okay.
strategy or similar. It's definitely 100% the exact same fucking strategy that they used to break Adele. The exact same strategy, right? And this is a movie set in the fucking 40s, 50s.
I'm looking it up right now. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's the movie. Everyone watch, listening to this fucking podcast should stop what they're doing after this is over. Google the Idol Maker, watch it. I think I'm gonna do a whole breakdown on the movie and pause it because I did it one time and the recording didn't come out right, but I ended up pausing the movie about every 8 minutes. There was a gem every 8 minutes about in that movie. The whole fucking movie, right? So that would be my advice to you, man. So you know, I think those are two dope questions. The other piece of advice is, you know, we got a book on it that I wrote and put it together and put it on the website. I say grab it. You know, you family, I'm gonna send you
the name of the book.
It's called How to Be a Music Manager 101. It's
Oh,
on
for
the
sure.
it's on
I think that's how I found y'all, man. I literally looked it up on YouTube, how to be a music manager, and your first video that popped up was your video, and I was like, yo, I gotta watch this. Like, this is crazy how small this world is, man. That's my boy, man. He about to teach me how to be a freaking music manager.
Yo, it's crazy, man. Yo, we got to chop it up after this, but yeah, I'll shoot you a coupon. We'll have Oz probably shoot it to you quicker than I can. But yeah,
for sure.
grab it, bro. Grab it and
for sure.
and watch it. And
Anything I want to do, I want to be
that.
great. I just told you earlier before we talked, man. Anything I want to do, I want to make sure I'm great at, man. I carry that attitude throughout the military, even when I'm back at home. Anything I want to do, video games, whatever, music, whatever I want to do, I make sure that I'm great at it. I do whatever's necessary to be considered great at it. So most definitely, man. I really appreciate all the opportunities that you guys have given me just by being able to talk to you and expand my doggone knowledge on this music management job, because I know I'm headed in the right direction.
Hey,
so
man,
I really appreciate it.
You got your heart in the right place, bro. So check all that out. Shoot, you got my other number. So after you watch that movie, let's talk. Let's do that.
Oh, for sure.
That's
most
homework.
Definitely.
Take that and let's talk about it.
Oh, for sure, man. I really appreciate it, yo.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing, man. I'm here to watch it, too.
You too, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
You too, man. Be easy. Yeah, peace.
Super dope. Wow. I'm talking about, I ain't seen dude. Like we on podcast and there's no faces on what we doing. It's all call in. So I'm like, I ain't seen dude in a minute. We supposed to be in the same fraternity together type thing, man. Wow. Look, it's been a dope show so far. I hope all of you guys got something out of today's episode. All right. We talked about a couple different things. We got a couple different people on the show. And remember, if you want to be on the show, all you have to do is send a text message to 404-442-4792 with your question. And whenever I'm recording, I'll reach back out to you and see if you're open to chat. And these recording sessions happen randomly. Sometimes it's a Monday, sometimes it's a Sunday, sometimes it's a Friday. It could be any day, but it's typically between the hours of 9 p.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So shoot me a text again, 404-442-4792, and I'll make sure that I get back at you. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot. I'm trying to give you guys everything that I got every time I do it right here on Phase 6. I'm out. I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot, and I'm trying to give you guys everything that I got right here on Phase 6. Check us out at www.phasevi.com. Again, that's www.phasevi.com. Beam in.